Okay, everybody, this is the first of the drive time with Our True History and Something to Think About. And today we're going to try and go through solid subjects, and instead of just sort of flittering around. So today we're going to talk about ghosts, spirits, orbs, and things like that. My guest today is Something to Think About. Now, he has actually had some experiences. So if you want to go through some of your experiences, and we can talk about what we think they were, etc.
Yes, hello everyone. Thanks for inviting me on Something to Think About TV to Our True History. So, paranormal, some experiences I've had from as long as I can remember. The house that I lived in, that I was born in, that my brothers and sisters were born in as well. The house we lived in was haunted by multiple entities. Ornaments used to fly off the mantelpiece, fireplace. Doors closing, hands coming around the corner of doors.
Okay, when you say hands, what do you mean?
So, my mother at the time was sitting in the front room of the house, and she was sitting there and watching TV, and at the corner of her eye, in the peripheral vision, she saw a hand come around the corner of the door, come around the side of the wall to go towards the light switch and touch the light switch. And she looked and she saw a hand dodge back, and then about a couple of minutes later, she saw it again, saw the hand go back, walked out to into the hallway of the house, and she thought was her husband, not my father at the time, her other husband, and she thought it was him, and he was upstairs asleep in bed. He was sick, so there was no one else in the house.
Was a physical looking hand.
Physical looking hand. Yeah, that's what she saw. And multiple other experiences, mists coming upstairs.
Okay, so just on the side of mist, that is a fairly common thing. Normally, they say that the mist part is a loved one that's visiting you, as opposed to someone that's like a poltergeist or someone that you don't know that's haunting the house. So the mist has been seen by many people. Sometimes, mostly sort of after someone's passed, and then they see the mist or smoke, they call it, sort of like very light smoke. Yeah. And you've seen that yourself?
I didn't see that myself, because I'm the youngest of six, so I didn't see that myself. I did used to you'd always see a black animal, like a dog or a cat, run past the door all the time. We never had it. We had cats and dogs, but none of them were black. I used to see that quite a lot. When we tried to leave the house, we tried to set it. My stepfather at the time, much later on, had a friend who used to exercise properties, houses, and we invited him because there was like a cereal boxes flying off the top of things in the kitchen. I witnessed that myself. All electrical appliances would always blow up, like hair dryers.
Was your property, before someone else in it, or was it a new build at the time?
My mum had lived there since before. I think she bought it in the 70s.
So it was already
pre-occupied
before that.
Yeah, so she had it a long time. She must have bought it late 60s, because my all my brothers and sisters were born there. So my oldest sister was born late 60s. So she had it since then.
As you was growing up, while you was kids, real young, too young to understand stuff, had she come across any of that stuff, or did it only start happening as you guys got older?
I think when she moved in with her first husband, when she moved in there and they had the kids there, things started happening. She remembers. She says to me still that not long after she moved in, there was an old guy that was delivering leaflets come and knocked on the front door, and she opened the door and had a conversation with him, and he kept looking up at the windows, and he said, "Can I ask you a question?" And she was like, "Yeah, sure." He said, "Has anything ever happened to you in this house? Anything strange?" And she was like, "No," because she didn't have at the time.
Right.
But stuff was happening shortly after that. So
what, that guy walked away and just left it?
He said, "Oh, no worries, okay."
So maybe he knew about the house or something?
Yeah, must have done. When we moved, I'll tell you this quickly. When we had a friend, my stepfather's friend came over and tried to exercise the property, and as he come into the front garden, he paused. And I remember this as a kid. I remember seeing him pause. I must have been about 8 maybe at the time. And he come in and he said, "Do you know someone with a black hat who wears a black like short cap, like an old-fashioned cap, not like a cap nowadays?" And I was like, "No." And he said, "Well, he's just walked down your stairs and walked out your front door."
No.
I was like, "Okay." And when we tried to move from the property, it was a nightmare trying to sell the property. It would never sell. And my mum used to take all the carpets up and clean the floorboards and stuff, all kind of, strip the house basically. And a funny smell started coming from the main bedroom's floor. So I remember my stepdad and my mum lifting the floorboards up. It was a real bad stench. And underneath the floorboards we found a wooden cross that had been tied together with like I don't know, string. And we found animal bones, not just random animal bones that had died, something had died underneath the floorboards. They had been set into some kind of pattern, and it was in the floorboards.
So you're thinking then there was some sort of ritual that went on?
Could have done, yeah.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, we were told by quite a few different people that it was spiritual and things at the time, that there was many things in the house. It wasn't one particular thing. There was poltergeist activity going on. There was lots of different things going on in there. I can tell you so many more things, but I don't want to take the time. But there was multiple things going on. And when we moved to the new property, which is on the same estate, for the first probably 4 or 5 months, we'd all be woken up in the middle of the night with massive pounding, banging on the front door, as if someone was panicking, trying to bang the front door. And we'd look out the window, and there would be no one there, as if something had followed us and tried to get into the new property. So, yeah, lots of strange stuff. So since then, I've been very interested in the paranormal, ghosts and stuff. So, and I think I'm quite receptive to it because I've had lots of experiences since.
So you're a believer then?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Okay, so the occurrences, were they during the day or night?
Random stuff, yeah.
Because from my experience, for a spirit to do something during the day, it's very, very difficult on them. It takes a lot of energy, which is why spirits do things at night. So basically, from what I can gather, the sun has particles, I can't remember off the top of my head what they're called, but which affect a spirit. You know, I can't remember the name of it, forgive me, but basically the sun rays can affect the spirit, so therefore the spirit's having to fight harder. Yeah. So that's why they used to say, like if you stood in front of a mirror at midnight with a candle, you'll see, if you think about ghosts or whatever, you'll see a figure in the smoke in the mirror in the candle.
Have you tried it?
No, hell no.
I was going to ask you if you tried it. I wouldn't have the ball to try it.
No, but the thing was, I mean, of course they say midnight, but really what they're saying is at the darkest time.
They say that's 3 o'clock. This number 3 o'clock always seems to pop up. 3 a.m. is the time that.
In fact, a lot of alien abductions happen around that time as well. So you've got the time. So like when clairvoyants do their readings. Do you know Edgar Casey?
No, I don't know. No.
So Edgar Casey was what's called the Sleeping Prophet. He's American. Well, I think he was American, but he lived in America, and he would do these readings, and he did a lot of readings, and I think also he had the plasma coming out of his mouth on some readings, where ectoplasm.
Are these old pictures? I've seen.
You've probably seen pictures of people with that, but so the ectoplasm is quite an interesting. That's for another day. That's quite a long thing. But again, everything was done in the pitch black. Now, you'd think to this day, seances would now have infrared cameras, because obviously back then they didn't have any cameras. But in the 80s and that, you just about had infrared cameras, but now we've got fantastic cameras. So you'd think that the mediums that can do that, but you don't really come across mediums that can do the things they did way back then, which is quite sad, because we've got the technology now to debunk or not debunk.
Yeah.
You know, you had so many of these people back in the 40s and 50s that could have this ectoplasm and actually have a spirit sitting with you or looking like the spirit that's passed. But there's not many of them now, which is
weird. The best thing I've seen quite recently was there was a guy who had some computer technology and camera, and he said his house was haunted, and the camera was facing the sofa next to him, and you could see it on like a computer or a laptop screen, whichever, and the dots started to form almost like a stick man.
Yeah.
Because it was trying to form, and it was coming out in a stick man format, because that's how it was on the computer. But that's the closest I've seen to anything, you know.
Well, that's the Ghost Hunters actually use the Xbox Kinect camera, which is
I've heard about that. Yeah.
The dual camera. Yeah. I mean, even now, some people are saying that on their phones, you know, like you've got these apps that can change your face and stuff.
Yeah.
Some people are actually saying that another face appears beside them, thinking, you got the apps that's face swap and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The camera's picking up
something else.
Yeah. So the Xbox Kinect was a good one, because it actually could pick up sort of the human shape, obviously using different techniques, not just visible light, use different light.
Yeah.
So Ghost Hunters, once they realised that they could do that, I've seen lots of Xbox videos where
it might have been that I saw it actually.
Yeah. I mean, there's cases of people that have the camera, the Xbox camera, and they obviously can't see what's going on, and but only can see it on the monitor.
Yeah.
And a ghost will sit on a chair behind them, or
how crazy
cross their legs. So all they see is the sort of, as you say, the bone version of it. Yeah. The skeleton type version of the
in a stick format.
In a stick form, on the computer. But so then there's people saying, would you stand up? And the thing stands up. And you're like, wow, that's hairs on the back of your neck.
It is. For anyone that doesn't believe or thinks it don't exist, they absolutely do. I just think that maybe some people aren't receptive to it or can't tune into it, and others can more than others. I've seen quite a lot of stuff, but obviously not on a medium type level. That's on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
But I think I'm quite receptive to stuff. I can pick up on things.
Well, they actually they use your aura or whatever you want to call it, chakra, which is how, I mean, not all the time, but that's how they can help. When you do Ouija boards.
Yeah.
And you think, well, okay, why aren't you just moving the glass? Why do you need me to touch the glass? Why does it have to be? Why can't you just move it yourself? It's because they use our energy.
Yeah.
Because we are putting out energy all the time.
To do stuff.
Yeah, so it helps them. Obviously, nighttime, as I say, it's easier for them. But if you're doing a Ouija board during the day, then they'll certainly tap into your energy. And what's your thoughts on Ouija boards?
Yeah, they're real. I've done 2 in my life. I'd never do one again. In that house that we lived in as a kid, my mum done several of them, and they was treated like a game. She would sit around with my brothers and sisters, and they would speak to spirits on the Ouija board.
What did she not know? I mean, the other stuff that was happening, she must have thought.
I think probably originally they probably done it first of all to see if they could contact whatever was in the house.
Oh, right, okay.
Probably to find out what it was or what they wanted, and I think they got not what was in the house. They contacted other people, and they actually got someone. I remember this. My brothers and sisters told me this, and my mum told me it. And they actually said they got someone on after about 3 or 4 occasions that they were doing it, and whatever spirit they got on the Ouija board said, basically told them to stop doing it. It's dangerous. It's really dangerous. That there's other things there that are not nice, basically. Yeah. And the last time they'd done it, it kept saying stop, 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 and my mum's chair physically lifted off the ground and tipped her off.
Really?
Yeah. And my actual father witnessed that, and he's not a believer at all, and he said no, that did happen. So
So the spirits were trying to
Yeah.
stop you from carrying on, bringing
Yeah.
something through. So that leads me on to the jinn.
Yeah.
And see, in my videos I was talking about light beings, and I said there's another type of light being. Obviously, you've got the ones that join with us as we're inside the womb, but there's another type which are actually supposedly inherently evil, which are the
Yeah.
jinn.
Yeah.
Now there may be other types, but these are the two we're talking about at the moment. So the jinn are the ones that will try and come through on the Ouija board. They're obviously not invited, and from what I understand from exorcism blokes and women as well, is that they ask for the light to fight the darkness before they even go in, and that basically what they're saying is that the light spirits, the other ones that's
Protect
not
them.
connected to you, but your guardian angels, whatever you want to call them, the other light energy beings attack or stop the jinn or the dark light trying to enter your body and things like that. And so when you're run down, and you're depressed, and that's when the jinn, because obviously your aura, your chakra is at its weakest, and that's when they come and try and possess you, because that's the best chance of them for doing that.
Yeah.
And again, goes back to your Ouija board thing. They will try and come through by you opening that
Portal.
and inviting them in, and of course the light spirits there, your guardian angels, whatever you want to call them, they're there trying to warn your mum to
Stop.
Yeah, to stop.
Yeah, I done two when I was one when I was probably about 12, another one a bit later on when I was 16. Both were. We didn't get very far with it because I think for the first time we done it, something started to happen on the board, like a black dot started to appear on the board, and we shit ourselves basically and stopped doing it. And the second time, the room went extremely freezing cold, and we stopped doing it. I've never done them since. I'd never do them again in my life. But when I looked into the history of Ouija boards, they used to be bought for kids, for presents, as like a Christmas present.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
How mad is that?
I know. And you can actually make a Ouija board out of anything. Someone I know done it out of just paper letters and put it on a table.
Yeah.
I've done when I say I've done a Ouija board, I was helping someone do a Ouija board, and it actually done everything correct. And I asked the question, can you read my mind, instead of keep me saying it out, because I didn't trust the person opposite me. And it went to yes. So then I asked a series of questions in my head, and it went to exactly what it should have gone to from the questions, and the other person had no idea what I was even saying. So,
how did you feel?
The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I just, I know I believe in aliens and things like that, but at this point I was on the fence about ghosts. To be honest, I probably didn't want to believe. I didn't like the idea of
It's quite scary.
poltergeists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, just explain again who we are. So, I'm Our True History, and as you've probably seen on TikTok, I do a lot of videos, and I've also got them on YouTube. And I cover all sorts of subjects, from aliens right through to Bigfoots and paranormal stuff. And the reason why my guest is with me today is because you already heard him talking, but a lot of his subjects that he covers, and he'll talk about his subjects in a second, but a lot of his subjects cross over to mine, and vice versa. So Something to Think About TV is his name, or his username on TikTok and on BitChute, etc. And I'll pass you over to him.
Yes, so I'm a TikToker, influencer, I guess, to a degree, or presenter, whichever you want to call it. And I cover a lot of topics that cross over to Our True Histories. Depending on what's going on in the world, I talk about conspiracy theories, some anti-governmental stuff, but also stuff like 411, CERN, all them kind of other topics as well that do sometimes cross over into Our True History. So yes, we supply the knowledge.
So if you haven't seen my channel or his channel, and you've really just picked this up on Spotify, for example, do go onto YouTube and have a look for mine. Now he can't put his stuff on YouTube because it's a bit too spicy for YouTube, so that's why he's on BitChute, which is a free platform and very similar to YouTube. In fact, they allow, they almost encourage, the
uncensored.
The uncensored stuff. So it's free, so you can go onto BitChute and just sort of type in something to think about TV.
You'll find it.
And you'll find his, and mine is Our True History, so you can go onto YouTube and find that. And we also do live chats as well on TikTok, and you'll find I've got 200 plus videos on there at the moment, covering all sorts of subjects, as I mentioned before. So we're running out of time now. We hope you enjoyed this. We would love to hear your opinions on it, and the next one we do will probably be a different subject. Could be Bigfoot, could be you name it, portals, time travel, anything. So we're just going to keep trying to do one sort of segment at a time. And so I'm going to say thank you, and hopefully I'll see you soon. And
I'll see you definitely soon.
So thank you.
Thanks for listening, and
talk to you soon. Bye bye.